Hello, it's Spence, the evil genius, from Widget Laboratory with your Lab Secrets tip of the day. Okay, this is part 2 of 2 parts for how we can interact, style, manage, manipulate, control, and have a lot of fun with our navigation menu on Social Go using CSS. On our last tutorial, we ended at this point where we had identified that we've got the location of the navigation bar, we've identified the unordered list, main navigation, and each list item. We've also identified that there's a thing called a class, which allows you to have a unique styling applied to one particular list item. In this case, we're applying the white color to whichever of the tabs is selected. Now, let me prove that out because I got cut off at the end of my screener. It's a great thing about Screener, I only have 5 minutes per tutorial. And we had identified that the class of nav selected, this right here, shows up in the CSS right here, where we see that we got the unordered list with the, and this pound symbol means divide ID. So with the ID of main navigation, then any list item that has the class, and that's the thing with the period, of nav selected, will have a background color of white. Just to prove my point, let me change this to, I don't know, something like, I'm going to guess at a color here. Let's do a dark gray. So a number 222222. And you'll notice that when I change that color, yes, in fact, this is the class affecting the selected tab. Now, let me show you how this works. Remember, here we're on the list item with the ID of nav home because that's the home tab. Let's say I select the magazine tab. When I do, and obviously this is all like a preview here on Firebug, so it resets everything. If I go back over here, you can see that I can identify the list item with the navigation called nav magazine, and now it has the class of nav selected, and the home tab is back to having no class ID. It's blank. That's what exactly happens with the HTML. When I select an item, it reloads the navigation menu and changes that class of nav selected to be applied to this particular ID and not the last one. And so again, I can go ahead and do the same thing I just did, which is go ahead and click on, I'm moving my mouse a little too fast for you folks probably, but click on this. Go ahead and change the color again to, I don't know, maybe we'll try a number 111. 11. It's a very, very dark color. It's almost black. And it's the same rule. I can also, of course, change the border color, and I can go with something crazy like, I don't know, let's just make up a color here, AE1356. I don't even know if that's going to show up. Maybe it won't. Okay, let's do something I know of. Let's do all white. It's a border color. And border, do 1 pixel solid. There you go. So now I've shown you 2 things: how to identify the navigation menu, and second of all, I've identified for you what the items are inside the navigation menu in terms of the element IDs, the list items, and I've also shown you that you can apply a unique class to any one of those. Now I've got a minute left. I'm going to show you one more trick here. This is something that ties together with the previous tutorial. Once you've identified any of the individual list items, you can hide any of them in particular. But remember, the whole idea is that you're going to have to apply the hiding to that particular ID. So if I was going to do that, I would simply click on the LI ID nav home, and then I would be able to take this particular block and I would go and put the attribute on it that says display none. Now, I've done this in a way that shows this to the entire menu, but this is what my point is. The elements that you want to affect are all located within this small range and this small block of CSS. So when you're starting to experiment, don't be afraid to get in there and start playing around a little bit because you're not going to have to go far. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw in a third tutorial here just to add a little bit more fun on how to actually style. See you in the next tutorial.